Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning, and good to be with you. Fall here in Northern Ontario, absolutely. Okay. And okay, so let me say hello to a few folks: Janice and Elsie, Nativity, John. Good morning from Elgin, Illinois. Annette, how are you? And Lisa, Rosa, Keith, and Michael in Wawa. Shirley, how are you? Linda, are you Linda from Listen, Linda? Nicole, and good morning to you. Wendy, and Bobby Joe, Morris, Andrea. Hey, we appreciate it. Bonjour, Yalam. And Simon and Marilyn, Catherine. I was able to go in afterwards on the show, but not only in the afternoon. It allowed me to go back and say hello to a few people. Jeanette, you guys are great. Okay, appreciate it. Jerry, nice to have you on from New Brunswick, coast to coast, right around the world. Yesterday from Ethiopia. Some of the places, it's just amazing to me, okay? And Beth Coleman and Joss, good morning to you, okay? Madeline, how are you? Okay, so let's, Jean, how are you, okay? We want to talk this morning about a few famous people and what the news sort of talked about. So I got four people that I want to talk to you about, and you probably will recognize every name, and if you don't, well, you don't watch the news, and that might not be a bad thing, by the way. So important people, or at least famous people, I don't know how important they are, came out with some statements and, sort of made headlines recently. And I just want to talk about that, okay? I sort of mentioned this a little bit last week, but Miley Cyrus. Now, I want to tell you my age. I've heard that name, but I couldn't tell you. She's a singer, right? I couldn't tell you a song that she sings. I'm sorry, but I'm a dinosaur. So, but she's famous, and I'm sure my granddaughters could tell you every song that she sings. I don't know. I'd have to ask them. But she came out with a statement last week, or maybe the week before. And it was funny because just about the same time last week, at least I heard about it, that Mike Tyson. Now, I know Mike Tyson. I'll tell you why, because he's a boxer. And, I don't follow boxing very much, but when I was younger, I loved boxing because of Cassius Clay when I was a kid. Muhammad Ali. He was my favorite. And so I really enjoyed boxing in those days. And but not so much now. I don't know who's boxing today, who's the world champ even. I couldn't tell you. But Mike Tyson was famous, several years ago because he was the heavyweight champion of the world. And I mentioned this to you last week, like Miley Cyrus and Mike Tyson made the news, said what? We've given up on veganism. I guess they had gone to a vegan diet, and Miley Cyrus, I just read one quote. She said her brain wasn't functioning properly, didn't feel good. And Mike Tyson, I don't know what he was quoted as saying about, I just saw that he repented. Now, do you know what the word repent means? It means changing your mind. That's really what it is. Jesus said, unless you repent, you shall likewise perish. It's a change of mind. And Tyson and Cyrus changed their minds. And of course, you guys know me. That's what I'm trying to accomplish, really, because I feel like the world has gone crazy over a lot of things. You notice how angry people are? It just seems that everybody's angry today. And they got to get their point across, and they're angry about it. And I'm not angry, guys. Okay? So look at my face. If you're listening on a podcast, I promise you, I'm not angry. I'm just trying to make a point. And they saw the light, the error of their ways. But what is coming to a theater near you is an indoctrination of the public. It started many years ago, but it's on steroids now. And that is to make people get away from animal products, eggs, meat, and cheese. The indoctrination is well established. And that is, don't eat meat. It's not good for you. And again, I would challenge any one of you. I think you know this to be true, but I would challenge you. Go door to door and do a survey. Vegetables are good. Bacon is bad. True or false? People feel guilty they're eating bacon. I talked to a lady last night. I'm eating so much bacon, Doc. I'm worried about it. Don't be worried. Can you get too much olive oil? Well, it's the same thing. What makes olive oil so good for you is it's got oleic acid. What makes bacon so good for you? Oleic acid. I like bacon better than olive oil. Sorry. I like olive oil. It's a wonderful oil to cook with. Ladies, it's a wonderful oil to put on your salad. But what Miley Cyrus discovered, not too late, what Mike Tyson discovered is they didn't feel good. And I'm telling you, being a vegan is not science. It's not good for anyone. Well, as a matter of fact, there was a story that came out, I think it was Friday. And it said that in the United Kingdom, two people were charged, the parents were charged for, under child abuse law, for raising their child up, their baby, right from scratch as a vegan. And they got charged. Now, let me ask you something. Think this through for a second. If, because what happened to that baby, by the way, was the baby had mental deformity because of the diet. Now, that ought to speak to us. That ought to make us, like, I get it. Babies need to develop, but if they need animal product to develop, their brain needs to develop properly, and they need animal product. They need animal fat. They need cholesterol. They need vitamin A. They need vitamin D. They need all the amino acids. Well, why is it? I'm asking the question for a friend. Why is it that babies need it to develop properly, and that adults don't need it? The young generation especially have bought it hook, line, and sinker that animal products are not good for you. They want to save the planet and save their bodies. I hear it all the time. Oh, doc, that's, it's got hormones in the meat. And yeah, but, if you get vegetables, I'm not against it. Somebody was asking me the other day, Doc, give me what you eat every week. I want your menu. Well, listen, my wife is the best, numero uno cook in the world. But she would testify that I'm pretty disciplined. I'm a very low-carb guy. Have been for many, many years. I told you the story of my father being a diabetic in the 1960s, and I watched him become a low-carb person. Steak every stinking day, my dad. With very few exceptions, and Sunday night roast beef, because that's what my mother made special meals just for my dad. And I watched him be light years ahead of the curve. Understanding nutrition in the 60s. And understanding that sugar wasn't good. And my dad loved cereal. But he didn't live on it anymore. He couldn't. I used to have breakfast with my dad when we practiced together for 8 years. Every morning, bacon and eggs. He couldn't. And so, understand the indoctrination that's taking place. Well established. But it's not true. It's not true. Vegetables, grains. It's not complete. You don't have a complete profile of amino acids. You just don't. And, if any of your children or grandchildren are doing this, then at least get them to understand there's not enough B12 in the vegetable kingdom to feed a mouse. They must take a supplement. Get them to understand that. Get them to listen to Miley, Cyrus. They just don't get enough. It's not enough for children, well established. It's not enough. You can't, and who says, like children's brain development, do you think your brain stops developing? Ever? Not as long as you're living. That's the problem. Think of Alzheimer's and dementia. Your brain is shrinking. It's shrinking because of the amount of sugar that saturates especially the memory center, the hippocampus of the brain. But your brain is made up of fat. It needs DHA. And folks, DHA, omega-3, long-chain fatty acid is not found in the plant kingdom. Omega-3 is in plants. And people ask me on a daily basis, Doc, I'm taking omega-3. How much DHA does it have in it? About 200 milligrams. Not enough. Your brain needs DHA. Your brain needs steak. It needs the B12 in steak. Your brain will not work properly without B12. Your nerves. B12 is a neurological vitamin. Your nerves won't work without B12. They just won't. Now, you're not going to croak right away. Oh, Doc, I haven't had meat in years, and, I didn't say you were going to croak right away. But don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. How many of us have said, in their minds, if not, out loud, oh, I got an uncle that lived till he was 110 and smoked cigars and drank like a fish. Yeah. That's by God's grace, not by any other reason. It wasn't the smoking and it wasn't drinking that saved his bacon. It was the grace of God. Because just follow me for a day. In my practice of 46 years. You want to see disease? Look at the world today. 88%. 88% in North America are metabolically messed up. 88%. Are you part of the 12% that isn't messed up? That's where I want to put you. You can join the 12% without any high blood pressure, without elevated blood sugars, without belly fat, without high triglycerides, and without low HDL. Those are metabolic. That's how you look at whether you are metabolically in shape or not. The negative part is you must decrease your carbohydrates. And you must increase your animal fat. I'll tell you why. Because if you look at your triglycerides, 3 fats, triglycerides, are made in the liver when the Costco parking lot is full, and it's from carbs. Simple as that. It's from carbohydrates, sugars. So food lowers your triglycerides. Take it away. Take it away. And you're adding saturated fat, cholesterol. To what? One, you take away, lower your triglycerides, and the other one does what? It elevates your HDL. Your trucks on the highways of your blood vessels taking triglycerides out of your body. That's how your body works. That's how your body works. Is food medicine? Absolutely. Am I saying vegetables are not good for you? I haven't said that, and I never will. Fruit and vegetables are good for you. But they're not complete. Just understand that. And when I put people on the reset, temporarily you're not eating any vegetables or fruit. And there's a reason for the while. I got several reasons for it. One of them we talked about in a previous podcast, and that was oxalates. I'm eliminating all oxalates temporarily. I'm eliminating all lectins temporarily. I'm eliminating all cellulose temporarily to give your body a break. And I'm giving you on the positive side, okay? So remember, on the reset, there's absolutely no carbohydrates. Not one. Nada. Your body will take a piece of steak and turn it into sugar if it needs it. You don't have to eat sugar to get sugar. Did you know that? That's how smart your body is. Just understand that. So you're going to be bombarded. They'll even try and hide these stories. Miley, Cyrus, she probably has walked it back because she offended people, I'm sure. Mike Tyson, they'll make them walk it back because it's not politically correct to talk against that. And in my profession, you should see the blowback I get. It's hateful talk. You can hardly have a discussion. People, like I said earlier, people are angry. And you can't go against their opinion because they get angry. We live in that world, especially on social media. You get shot down, but you know what? I don't care. I'm not trying to win friends and influence people. I'm trying to educate. And it might be costly to go against the grain in that sense. But I'm sorry. It's true. So if you're a vegetarian, then understand. If you're a vegan, even worse, then understand. You need to supplement. You need to get all those amino acids. All of them. You need to take B12 the rest of your life. You need to take vitamin D. The sun will not even be enough. You're going to have to take zinc. You're going to have to take vitamin A because carrots won't do. Carrots won't do. Carrots are good. They have beta-carotene. It's a precursor to vitamin A, but it's not vitamin A. Vitamin A is proretinol, found in eggs, meat, and cheese. You need to, if you have children, grandchildren who are vegetarians or vegans, they need to take another vitamin, K2. They'll get lots of K1 in their salads. But they won't get K2. And K2 takes calcium out of your blood vessels. K1 doesn't do that. K2 does. And K2 is found in eggs, meat, and especially in cheese and butter. As a matter of fact, K2 is found in cheese curds at the highest. Now, go mortgage your house, because a vegetarian will eat cheese. Well, I hope they do. But a vegan won't. No dairy product. Okay? So we talked about Miley. We talked about Mike Tyson. Did you see the headline the other day? Another famous person, Tony Fauci, the head czar for COVID, at least in the United States. He's the top doggy. What did he say? He's taking vitamin D. He recommends it. I don't know if that got buried. I saw it. It actually came across on, I think I was watching a ball game, and you know, the little ticker tape news there or whatever. I saw Tony Fauci takes vitamin D and vitamin C, by the way. You don't have to take vitamin C if you eat a low-carb diet. Drink coffee. The best vitamin C is coffee. It's got quercetin. It's a much better vitamin C because it's got polyphenols. A multitude. You can take vitamin C if you want, ascorbic acid. I got no problem with that if you want to do it. I just found clinically for me that you needed to get high doses to make it effective, intravenously. And, you know, just to give a kid 1,000, milligrams of vitamin C, it'll end up in the urine more than, better to drink coffee. Okay? So, imagine, even Tony Fauci. Vitamin D. Is it important? Absolutely. I think we made the case. We made the case that vitamin D would be the antidote to COVID. There was a study that came out, and this is just, let me just see if I can quote it to you. A study that came out on vitamin D. I made a note of it because I was looking at it, and it talked about, oh yes, here it is. Dehydroxy test. Okay, so what is that? That's a vitamin D test. Okay, so if you can talk your doctor into it, please try and find out what your vitamin D levels are. Okay? Because that's very important. What are your vitamin D levels in your serum? It's called a dehydroxy 25. Okay? That's the name of the test. Doctors don't do it very much unless they're suspicious of osteoporosis. But any functional doctor will be very interested in your dehydroxy, your levels of vitamin D in your blood. How much vitamin D do you have? It's amazing. The odd time I see high, so what? That's what I say, okay? Doctors, when they see high vitamin D, I mean, rarely they do, they panic. But I always tell them, you know what? Vitamin D is an essential vitamin. The body is a human solar panel, every cell in your body. But what this little news headline, news behind the news, because it was in health news and not so much in the mainstream media, it said this: dehydroxy test beat any other test. Listen to this. Dehydroxy test beat any other test to predict premature mortality. What's the number one test really that should be done then? If it is the best predictor of premature mortality of anything, any condition, is your serum vitamin D levels, dehydroxy. It's the best test. And yet, it would have been nice. It would have been nice, I don't even know if he knows this, but it would have been nice if Tony Fauci had talked about getting that test done. Because we established this, I think it was last week, in an earlier broadcast. What did we say? That if you've got good levels of vitamin D, your chances of getting sick from COVID are almost nil. Almost nil. It won't make you sick because of vitamin D. And we talked about how it does that, because vitamin D does several things. One of the things it does is it increases your T cell activity. Your T cells, your lymphatic cells, your Navy SEALs of your immune system, they get supercharged with vitamin D. Why is the sun so good for you? Why do you feel better when the sun is out? Why do you sleep better when the sun is out? Why is your immune system better when the sun is out? Vitamin D. Not vitamin C. Vitamin D. Vitamin C is good. Coffee. Vitamin D is better for the immune system. And for vitamin D is a hormone more than a vitamin. And really it should be classified as such, because the problem with vitamin D is, like any other vitamin, the medical profession aren't big on vitamins. They're really not. They often worry about, you can get too much of that. Yeah, I guess you could. But they worry about, you know what, you maybe get too much of it, when the vast majority of people are low in it. They look at the exceptions and they live on the exceptions. You know why? It's their training in medical school. You learn day one in medical school, if you take any vitamins at all, that, you know, ADEK, your fat-soluble vitamins, ADEK. You could take too much of those. And they get focused on that. I'm not kidding you. Instead of taking a panel of your blood work and looking for deficiencies. It's just training. And when I can get to my physician friends, if I can teach them, some are unteachable, but some are teachable. Dr. Fauci must have been teachable. You need vitamin D, not just for your bones. Yes. But you guys know it, and that's the key. I start with you. You guys know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Okay, enough pontificating for the day. You're not part of our Martin Clinic Facebook group. There's people, new people joining us every day, not only on Facebook, the Facebook group, but on our lives here. New people every day. We thank you for that. Join our private groups. Ask questions. Give us some input. Challenge me if you want. I got no problem with that. Just be nice. Don't be angry. There's enough angry people out there. So let's not be angry. I feel sorry for people is what I do. I feel sorry for them. Some people are scared skinny and they're angry about it because they think everything's a threat to them. Don't live in fear. Don't live in fear. Okay, so back tomorrow, Lord willing. Friday is question and answer Friday. Next week, it looks like Tony Jr. and I are going to do a webinar. We'll invite you to that. We talked about it yesterday. So we're just doing some planning now. But coming to a theater near you is a new webinar. You're going to like it. Okay? We'll talk more about that when we confirm it. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.